Next, a little bit more on the, well, maybe the first for some folks, but the background and the use of the hake brush. Um, Once again, I'm going back to my value sketch. And it's probably kind of hard to see. As I'm looking at this now, I actually know that I want to change it a little bit. And it's my painting, so I can do this. I get to choose. I encourage you to decide if you would like to change yours as well. Mostly I'm trying to sort of increase the effect of that was not a very sharp pencil. Going from a light value to a darker value as I move across towards this way, towards the background. And gosh, that's really not very impressive drawing-wise. But shading as far as drawing. But I'm going to address that later. So I know that about the background. And what we talked about was, and did a little bit, maybe you did, maybe not, but using this brush, getting around to using this brush, the hake brush. And really the main reason, the main thing I do with this brush is use it to wet a large area relatively quickly. And because it is soft, both very soft as well as holds a ton of water, as well as really darn inexpensive, I use it to wet down a big shape quickly. Because once again, I do like being able to blend things. This is a large sort of odd shape, random shape, sort of going around this bottle. So a couple things: go easy on yourself, first of all. That's a good rule of thumb, always. But what I'm doing is you'll see I've already thought about this shape, this background shape, and it's going around this bottle and the avocado. I'm not going up straight to the edge, but I'm going pretty close to the edge. And one of the things that is really fun about the background is something I'll tell you in a minute. But first I'm going to tell you that after I've done that, I'm going to come back and use my smaller tool. The other one is sort of like just a big unwieldy tool, but it gets things done really quickly. And this is a little bit more fine-tuning tool. And this, I will say, this is such an odd shape as I keep thinking about it, that in hindsight I might have done something simpler, but I have faith in you. So part of the fun in this background is to really just not worry about anything except having fun and the values that we're getting. So one thing you saw me do a little bit is really mixing in sort of a bunch of different colors and watching them as they do fun things on the background. That first one was peacock blue. Here's a little bit of Quinn rose. Maybe I'll put a little bit over here just so that kind of keeps mixing and whatnot. I I'm going to bring in some indigo in this corner that's going to get darker. And I'm going to just start moving things around. This is not meant to be done in a place where you can't make a mess. So be someplace where you can make a mess. And part of the fun thing, another part of the fun is to practice both dropping in color and dripping in color, like I just did, as well as brushing in color. You can play with sort of moving things around with your brushing because the paper is nice and wet. It should all continue to keep moving. And another cool thing about the background is that it's fun to, because it is the background and it's nice to have sort of weird fuzzy things going on. That has the effect of pushing out of focus items in the background will have the effect of pushing the foreground items closer and making them that much cleaner and more clearly differentiated from the background. So you'll certainly get to a point where some of it is wet, some is not. And try to kind of both have fun with that and let that go a little bit. If there's some place that it's not moving as much as you want, you can certainly add a little bit more water. Here's a fun mix. I'm just mixing a little bit of Quin Rose and the indigo. Makes a really nice sort of dark purple. You see that one thing I did was I actually in class squeezed in a little bit of quinacridone burnt orange. Certainly can play with that too. As we keep adding colors and as all the different primaries are represented somehow, whether it's something with a little red or a little orange or a little, with a little red or yellow or blue, things will start graying out. But it's quite fun to kind of sneak up on this thing. I would suggest doing it in passes that, depending on your personality, you will sort of either just love going crazy and diving in, or you might really inch up on it pretty slow, or anywhere in between. When I've added some color like that, and if I wanted it to move a little bit more, but it's not moving, that's because the paper is drying. So if I can bring in just a little bit of color, a little bit of water, and have fun with that. I'll be doing, that's enough of the background. That's enough. That's enough out of you, buddy. But just like the other shapes and whatnot, I'm tilting it so that gravity is helping me when it comes to which way the water is going to move, and then ultimately which way the water is going to move and move the color, the pigment. That helps me sort of get it darker down here. as well as just approaching it knowing that I'm not going to do it all in one pass, so that I can have a little bit of more control about where it's dark and where it's light. Hey, look, that's the right side up. What if? Nah, I'm going to clean up that edge when I come back and hit the bottle again. Try not to get wed to how it looks at any given point, because when it dries it will probably look much different. So, background fun. There you go.